The University of Toronto, Mississauga, my old stomping grounds, the place where I really became a man. You guys are graduating this year, and the class of 2023 has really been through a lot. This video message is for all of you. I hope you take something from this and learn a little bit from someone that was in your shoes not too long ago. Despite the challenges and the turbulence you faced, you all have learned and grown so much, both inside and outside the walls of your school. Enjoy the show and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Mental health affects us all. It's something no one believes because depression is your excuse to be lazy. Anxiety is at an all-time high, is nothing but a lie. It's only you that feels this way. The idea that your story matters couldn't be further from the truth. You will amount to nothing. And all of this could be our reality, but instead, we'll reverse it. You will amount to nothing. Couldn't be further from the truth. Your story matters. The idea that it's only you that feels this way is nothing but a lie. Anxiety is at an all-time high. Depression is your excuse to be lazy. It's something no one believes because mental health affects us all. This poem is a poem that I wanted all of the students in the class of 23 to take a listen to and remember that the way we look at things is everything to our perspective and to who and what we become. It's up to you to look at the last 2 years of your life and see that as a negative, or to look at these last few turbulent years and see the positives, to see the gratitude and the appreciation that can come from the difficulty and the struggle that exists in all of our lives. Because it's true. Many of us missed a lot of moments that we should have had in school. Many of us missed a lot of moments that we should have had with our friends. What did that teach us? That is what I want to speak to you about today. I did a survey. I asked 158 students from schools all across Ontario what they thought about the last 2 years, 3 years, in COVID and now coming back. 72% of respondents, when they were asked if they would rather go to school virtually, they said no. 72% would rather be here in person. I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that you can now appreciate being back in the building, being back in the seminar hall or the classroom once you've had 2 years away from it. And sure, things were easier when you were in COVID. It was more convenient. You could be in your bed and still go on school, hop onto your class while you're in your phone, still half asleep. But I think we all could understand the experiences that we missed. The next question that I asked all the respondents was what they missed the most. The last 3 years have been crazy, but what was the one thing that you really feel you missed? 59.5% of the respondents said that they missed connecting with their friends. This is why this matters. It's why perspective matters. Because when we have an absence of something, whether it's being in school or being with our friends, we can truly begin to appreciate the exact thing that is absent in our lives. It's only with the darkness that we can appreciate the beauty and the magnificence of the stars. Otherwise, we wouldn't know how beautiful they are, but it's that darkness that allows us to see it that way. So don't lose sight of the value despite the difficulty, because there will always be value despite difficulty, and often, especially within difficulty. So the valuable experiences in life are the ones that are filled with triumph, that come with struggle. And to show you this, I want to do a quick little skit. And for this skit, I want to invite my friend Zane to join me in the video for my little activity. So I got my friend Zane here.
What's up?
And Zane is going to help us with this demonstration. Now, Zane, what I want you to do is very, very simple.
Okay.
This is what?
A $50 bill.
Very smart. You can see Zane was a very diligent student. So I'm going to give you this $50 bill. I want you to hold it flat out like this so everyone can see it. All right. So now we've established Zane has got this $50 bill. Now, Zane, what I want you to do is very simple. I want you to try your best to crumble and just completely deflatten that bill to the best of your abilities. Go ahead. All right. I see you have some experience in crumbling papers. All right, Zane, now I want you to try and crinkle it out, put it back to normal. All right.
Pretty good job.
Yeah, you did. That, yeah, you could tell it's been through war. So, Zane, I asked you to completely crumble that bill up, and now you flattened it right back out. How much is this bill worth?
$50.
$50. When you crumpled it up, did its value change?
No.
Is it still worth $50?
Yes.
What does this teach us?
That like if we were to take this bill and represent it in the perspective of life, we could be crumbled up and go through many difficulties, but at the end of the day, your value is still at its fullest.
And Zane's going to continue the rest of the presentation. Well done, Zane.
Thank you.
Awesome job. I appreciate that. Thank you. You can head out.
I'll take that $50.
Oh, no. This $50 bill and what Zane just said is exactly right. At the end of the day, our value does not change based on the negative experiences that we go through. In fact, it's those negative experiences that often add value to our lives. They teach us what to be grateful for. They teach us what to appreciate in life. So even when Zane crumpled up this $50 bill, it was still worth $50. Didn't change anything about its value. And that's exactly true with everything you've gone through as a class of 2023. These last 3 years have added value. They haven't taken any value away from who you are. They've made you stronger. They've made you better people. And that is what I want you to focus on. But it does require perspective. The second story that I want to share with you, or rather the second activity, not activity, maybe story, I guess. Second thing I want to share with all of you is an experience that I had. Something that has really stayed with me and stuck with me to this day. I was traveling in Africa, in a country called Niger. It's the 9th poorest country in the world. And in this country, they have very, very little. And I remember when I was there was children that are 9, 10 years old. They're drinking water out of this man-made pond, and the water is like green and brown in color. There's animals bathing in the same water as children are drinking out of it. I've never seen things like this before in my life. This was a huge shock to me. One of the things that we did before we left the field was we had water bottles in our truck. And so we started distributing water bottles amongst the children that were there in this village in rural Niger. As we're distributing water bottles, something interesting happens. The adults in that village start taking the water bottles away from the children and start drinking it themselves. Now, we only have a few water bottles left. This is happening. We don't know what to do. This was the level of desperation that we were facing. What we ended up doing was undoing the water bottles and individually feeding kids water from the bottle from our hands because we couldn't give them the bottle themselves. They would get taken away. People there haven't had clean water to drink. This is their reality. Going there made me appreciate and realize something. That I can't take the things I have here for granted. Running water in my house is a privilege. A roof over my head is a privilege. There are people that are fighting for clean water somewhere across the world. These are the moments that teach us so much about what it means to be here, why we're here. It's so easy to say, why are these people struggling? Why doesn't someone do something about it? The reality is, we are the someone that needs to do something about it. We are the ones that need to innovate and find solutions and find perspective in those difficult moments. It's no different than the last few years. It's no different than the idea of that $50 bill. It's not these negative things that bring us down, but rather these negative things that help us build back stronger, with more experience, with more things to take away. So The last thing I want to leave you with is another inspiring story, an inspirational man who took a negative and did something incredible with it. It's about a man in India who's called the Mountain Man. And so this man was happily married, and his wife was an incredible person, and they had this amazing marriage, and they lived in a small village in rural India. And so this man, one day he finds out his wife gets extremely sick and she has some sort of terminal illness. Unfortunately, getting medical help in a place like that is extremely difficult. And where they lived, there was mountains all around them. The closest hospital or medical center was about 70 kilometers away because they had to traverse through mountains. Unfortunately, because of the inaccessibility to healthcare, the mountain man's wife passed away. And when he was alone, he would often think about how if there had just been a path through these mountains, that maybe his wife could have survived. Maybe she could have had access to healthcare, but there was no such path. So one day this mountain man, as he's called, started carving away at the mountain in front of him in his village. People started laughing at him. What are you doing? You're trying to find a path through this mountain? You're never going to do it. You're wasting your time. But he would continue picking away at the mountain, continue every single day for years. And eventually the people that laughed at him started joining him. They started seeing his vision of what he wanted to do. The same ones that laughed when their family members got sick, he told them stories about his wife and how he wished there was a path that she could take that could help her get health care. And that's why he was making this path, so that other people wouldn't have to struggle the same way. His pain and his struggle, the negative experiences he faced, pushed him to do this. And he created that path many years later. And now he's very famously known in India as the Mountain Man, the man who created and carved a literal path through a mountain so that other people could access to healthcare that community was struggling with. Why am I sharing this with you? Because as the class of 23, you have gone through a very extensive and considerable negative experience collectively. But it has also led you to some incredible realizations about gratitude, about appreciation, and about perspective. And these stories and these activities are examples to be reminded of, not only for the remainder of our time in school, whether it's university or college or high school or middle school or wherever we're going to, but rather for the rest of our lives, to think about what is in store for us and how we can best respond to it when it gets challenging. Because this is only the tip of the iceberg. And as life goes on, it will get more challenging. No one gets out scratch-free from life. But it's not about the damage that's done. It's not about the amount of times we've been crumbled or stepped on, like that $50 bill, that defines us. What defines us is how we straighten ourselves out and pick up the pieces. Class of 23, congratulations on this incredible accomplishment and best of luck with all of your future endeavors.